Hey friends, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about 5 mistakes I've made in my career, and if we're being honest here, I've likely made a lot more than 5 mistakes in total, but I've filtered it down to 5. And no, these aren't things that I regret, but I acknowledge them and I would have loved to change them. So if you were my friend, then these would be the tips that I'd give you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. So without further ado, let's just get started. Number 1 is not investing in myself professionally. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars into my education. I did a university degree in a very top school in the world. I did an MBA degree, and in total, if I was to look at the whole amount of money that we invested into my education, it was outrageous. But when it came to my career, for some reason, this is very strange, and it just kind of recently occurred to me. When it came to my career, very strangely, I never thought I had budget for it. So what I assumed was, because I had invested so much money and so much energy into my education, I just needed to figure things out when it came to my career. So the thought was that I should be able to sail smoothly through life after this point onwards, but it just doesn't work that way. You actually need to invest into your professional life, into finding a job, into getting ready to find a job, getting ready for the work life that's waiting ahead of you. You actually need to be investing into that piece as well, because that's actually even more important than the academic background that you have. Because of this wrong idea I had, I actually never invested into any professional courses, certificates, or a mentor, a coach that could really help me to figure things out, because I wasn't able to figure things out on my own when it came to certain things. But I never felt ready, or never felt that I had that budget to invest into it, and I should have. So here's a funny story. A couple years ago, someone reached out to me for the first time in my life to get coaching from me about their marketing career. They wanted information from me, and that was brand new to me. The fact that someone was willing to pay for my experience and for my expertise in the industry they wanted to work in, honestly, my eyes were open. I was so proud of that person for reaching out and his willingness to actually invest into his career. And he likely doesn't know this, but his approach was a big learning for me. Anyway, now that I know how important it is to invest into your professional development, I encourage everyone, I encourage my friends and you to do the same. And I also suggest that you start doing this as early on as you can, because you don't have to feel lonely, and it's okay that you're not able to figure things out, even if you have the best education in the world. Being able to pay for someone's expertise and experience to coach you or teach you something is priceless, because it saves you so much time and so many mistakes that you could have made along the way. Before I move to the second point, there's one more thing that I want to add, and that is a lot of people have been reaching out to me recently asking if I offer one-to-one consulting or lessons or courses, and I do, and you can learn all about that on my website, which is elifhiz.com. I'll have the link on the screen as well as in the description box below, so if you're interested, you can check it out from there. And if it seems like something you want to do, you can reach out to me. There is a button on the site. But even before you're ready to invest financially, you can also look at all the free resources that I have on the website as well. Again, the link will be in the description. You can basically browse through a library of free marketing resources and career related resources. I think it's going to be really helpful. I recently revamped the website, so everything is now all in one place. Second mistake I made was not vetting the opportunities that came across my way. What I did was, as soon as I had a job offer or an opportunity, I basically jumped on it. But the problem actually starts a little bit earlier than that, because I wasn't actually going into any of the interviews with the mindset that I need to evaluate this company and I need to make sure that this is the right fit for me as well. So I always thought, as the candidate, that I was under the spotlight and I had to impress them, and I had to get out of that interview with that job offer. I had to be the best candidate that they had seen for that role. But the thing is, I wasn't actually vetting the opportunity, which means that I wasn't actually asking them any questions that would help me to evaluate if that company was actually a good match for me. Whether that was about the culture, the work-life balance, the details of the role itself, because sometimes you interview for a role and you're really attracted to the title and the company, but you don't actually look into the details of the role itself and how the day-to-day will look like. Or another case would be where you would thrive in a team environment, but the company that you're interviewing with doesn't have a team. You're going to be the only person working on marketing, and you're basically going to be doing everything from A to Z. So that could end up being a very wrong opportunity for you, or somewhere where you don't actually enjoy what you're doing at all, or you're not learning at all. So the long story short here is that you should always be vetting the opportunity, even if you're interviewing for the very first job in your life, even if you're very junior, fresh out of college. I don't care. You should still be vetting the opportunity, because number one, it helps you to understand if it is a good match with you. But number two, vetting the opportunity and asking the interviewer questions about the role, about the company, and about the things that you're curious about that relate to that job is going to help you show up as a high profile, high value candidate for the interview. I talk about this a lot in my videos about how to prepare for a marketing interview, how to stand out in an interview, and all of those. So if you're interested in learning more, I'll leave a couple of links in the description below for you to check out, and absolutely do not miss to check out the one that is about questions you need to ask in the interviews. There's also a free list of questions you should ask in interviews for you to download, so do make sure to check that out. Next one, number 3, is not paying attention to the company culture. And this could not apply to everyone, let's be honest. I mean, not everyone really cares about the company culture, but I think, and I would suggest my friends to do the same, to care about the company culture, because you spend your day in and day out, you're with them, it's like your second family. The team that you're working with basically becomes like your second family. You spend so much time at work, and because of that, it's really important for you to feel happy about the culture and to feel like you belong in that culture and feel like you thrive in that culture as well. And when there is a misalignment there, my experience tells me that there's always unhappiness there or dissatisfaction. So how do you evaluate the company culture and make sure that it is a good fit before you actually jump on the board? Number one thing you can do is ask a lot of questions about the company culture during the interview. Try to learn from the HR person that you're talking with. Also ask the direct manager, the hiring manager that you'll be working with at that job as well, how their experience has been. If you know anyone else at the company that you're not interviewing with, but maybe you have friends, or maybe you have a second degree or third degree connection that you could be introduced to, get in touch with them and ask them about the company culture, and then go on social media, go on their website, and try to look at all the resources that you can find about the company culture again. So try to do as much digging as you can possible, and hopefully you'll get some information about the company culture that makes your heart happy. The fourth mistake that I've made is not doing salary negotiation. I have a video on the channel about salary negotiation. It was a conversation that I've overheard from someone doing a really brilliant job at salary negotiation, and it really inspired me to film that video, which was very spontaneous. So if you want some tips, you can definitely check that out. If you want to hear more about salary negotiation and how I approach it, leave me a comment in the comment section below so I can make sure to create a video on that. Currently, I don't have that many on salary negotiation, but anyway, that's not the point. The point is that this is definitely a mistake that I have made over and over and over again. I know that a lot of people struggle with salary negotiation. It's really the toughest part about the conversation when you're interviewing. We don't know how to approach the conversation, we don't know how to ask, we don't know how to ask for more, and we don't feel comfortable talking about money in general. And that's a problem, because we should be able to talk about money, because essentially we are trading in our time for money, right? So I mean, it should be a conversation that we're okay having. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of how to do salary negotiation in this video, but I want you to know that it was a lesson for me, and what I did was to educate myself on how to do better salary negotiation. There are lots of resources out there, so I highly encourage you to get informed, get educated about salary negotiation, and practice talking about money and getting comfortable with it. And the final and fifth mistake that I want to talk about is not thinking long term and really focusing in on what is happening at that moment in time. So I'll give you an example to make it more concrete and more relatable. So way back in 2013, I was in Turkey and I was working for the biggest telecommunications provider company in the country. And I had a really good salary and benefits package, especially if you looked at my age range and experience level. One goal that I always had was to work in a multinational company that had international headquarters. Anyway, after working for that company for only a couple of months, I received an offer letter for an internship at Intel. And Intel was one of my dream companies, and I would have loved to work there if I didn't already have this job that was really paying well. So my short-term vision told me to stick with what I currently have because it was already paying really well. It was a job, it wasn't an internship. I had a decent title. I was in a very big company, a very big organization that I thought was something good to have at that time. There were other details that I don't need to mention here, but I decided with my short-term vision to stay in the current company that I was working with, the telecommunications company, and I said no to that internship offer at Intel. After a couple more months passed of working at this company, I realized that I was absolutely an outlier. It was definitely not the right experience for me. It was not the right title. It was not the right organization. It was not the culture fit. And I hated my experience there, and I left and I went on and did something else. But what happened on the other side of things is only after 2 years of me rejecting that internship offer at Intel, Intel actually decided to close their headquarters in Turkey and also in EMEA as well, if I'm not mistaken, and they moved all their employees in the Istanbul office to Seattle, which would have been a dream come true, but I missed out on all that opportunity because I was really focused in on the current, what I had currently in my hands, which was a lot of money compared to an internship salary, which wouldn't even pay for my transportation to the office. Anyway, that was definitely a lesson learned for me in terms of looking at things in the short term versus long term and trying to identify the growth opportunity of where I'm at instead of focusing in on what I currently have. And with that said, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button for me. It means a lot. It really supports the growth of this channel. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more videos like this one. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.